Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say good afternoon and welcome to what has become a traditional event for USA Wrestling, and that is to recognize in our reception today a number of people for their accomplishments during the past year. My name is Van Stokes. I'm going to serve as your MC for today, and I want to begin by saying, on behalf of USA Wrestling, thank you very much for being here. We truly appreciate you taking time out of this schedule and joining us here today. I also want to say that even though we're going to recognize some individuals today, the truth of the matter is, you know two things. Number one, this organization is literally held together by the great work of so many people around this country of ours, performing so many different roles, so many different capacities, giving so much of their time, so much of their talent, so much of their treasures to help this organization, to help our wrestlers, and to help us be the best in the world and the best that we can possibly be. So I want to begin by recognizing that. And I also want to say that they say a turtle doesn't get on a fence post by itself. And this is truly an example of an individual sport in which it takes a collective effort for every individual to get where they are. So I want to acknowledge that and say thank you for being here today, and I hope that as we go throughout the course of the next several minutes that we will take time to recognize and show our appreciation to the many people that we're going to call up here today. We're going to begin by recognizing the John Smith Award winner as USA Wrestling's Freestyle Wrestler of the Year. And when I'm done reading this introduction, as I call your name the final time, if you will come up to the stage, we will make the presentations we made by our president, Mr. James Ravenek, along with our executive director, Mr. Rich Bender. J.D. Bergman is our John Smith Award winner as USA Wrestling's Freestyle Wrestler of the Year. J.D. Bergman is being given this award. It's been named for John Smith, two-time Olympic champion and four-time world champion. Bergman, competing in his first World Championships, placed 10th at the 2010 World Championships in Moscow, Russia at 96 kilos, 211.5 pounds. He qualified for his first U.S. World Team with a victory at the 2010 World Team Trials at that memorable event in Council Bluffs, Iowa, defeating Jake Varner in the final series of 2 straight matches. He also won his first U.S. Open title in Cleveland, again, another memorable competition, stopping Varner there in the finals as well. He won gold medals at the 2010 Cerro Pelado International Tournament in Cuba, 2010 New York Athletic Club International in New York City, and added a silver medal at the Medved International Tournament in Belarus, and a bronze later on in Canada. He trains full-time at the Ohio Regional Training Center in Columbus, Ohio. He was a 3-time All-American for Ohio State. Ladies and gentlemen, our John Smith Award winner, Freestyle Wrestler of the Year, J.D. Bergman. Mr. Ravenek, let's see, here we are here. If I can get you come on up to the stage, and John, if you'll come on up as well.
Congratulations.
You know, John said, can we keep that? And so I said, John, you know, eventually, yeah, I mean, we've named it after you, we're going to hand it out, and you want to keep it too? I think. You know, there's a scene in the movie Casablanca where the inspector comes in and the atrocity is brought to his attention, and he turns to his partner and he says, round up the usual suspects. Well, I'm not 100% for sure, but I think someone turned to Larry Nugent, our director of development, and said, we're going to have a reception at the Sheraton. And Larry turned to someone else, turned to Haley and said, Haley, round up the usual suspects. So as I look out, I see a lot of familiar faces, and again, it's good to have you here. Our next two athletes that we want to recognize are not able to be here with us because of the competition, but first up is our Greco-Roman Wrestler of the Year, Justin Rees. Rees placed 5th at 96 kilos at the 2010 World Championships in Moscow. He had a 3-2 record there. He lost in the second round to the eventual silver medalist from Belarus. In the bronze medal bout, he was defeated by the wrestler from Sweden in a very difficult one-zip bout. He qualified for his 5th U.S. World Team by winning the 2010 U.S. World Team Trials. He was 6th in the U.S. Open in Cleveland, Ohio, stopping John Lorenz there in the championship finals. He was a 2005 World's Bronze Medalist, runner-up in the 2004 and 2008 U.S. Olympic Team Trials. Two-time All-American from the University of Nebraska, and it's always good to catch up to Mark Manning when I see him and give him kudos for the great work he's done out there. Although he's unable to be with us right now, ladies and gentlemen, please recognize Justin Rees. Our next recipient, the Women's Wrestler of the Year, Elena Pereshkova, also unable to be with us at this reception, of Colorado Springs and the Gary Wrestling Club. She was a silver medalist, 63 kilo, at the 2010 World Championships in Moscow. She won 4 straight matches, qualifying for the finals. Defeated in the World Championship finals by two-time Olympic champion Kiori Icho of Japan, 1-1 and 0-6. She won her 2nd career University World title with a victory at 67 kilos. That was in Torino, Italy in October. Qualified for her 3rd U.S. World Team with a victory in the 2010 World Team Trials. She won her 2nd career U.S. Open title in Cleveland, stopping Olympic silver medalist, 2004 silver medalist Sarah McMahon in the championship finals. She also had a strong 3-1 performance at the 2010 Women's World Cup. She calls Greenfield, Massachusetts home and has been at the U.S. Olympic Training Center as a resident athlete since she graduated from high school in 2005. Although she is unable to be with us, let's please recognize Elena Pereshkova. Our next recipient is with us. In fact, he happened to take a seat at one of the round tables. When we came in, someone said, "Is there assigned seating?" I said, "No, you sit wherever you want." So it's always interesting to see how groups pull together. It's the way we do things sometimes, but that's a good thing. But anyway, the next recipient happened to sit down right next to where I had placed my briefcase. And I said, "Had you known that was my briefcase, you may not have chosen to sit here." And he didn't really respond to that. So I will call him up, and that is our Greco-Roman Coach of the Year. As many of you know, I work with the military and seemingly have since the Revolutionary War, but whenever we have the opportunity to stop and recognize one of our own, a uniformed service member in particular, it's always a unique honor and a unique treat. Dan Hicks is our Greco-Roman Coach of the Year. It's the first time that he's won this award. He was the coach for the 2010 U.S. Greco-Roman team that placed 13th in the 2010 World Championships, 2 athletes placing 5th there. He was the head coach, he is the head coach of the United States Marine Corps wrestling team, stationed in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. Has served as the head coach of that team since 2004. He was a coach for the 2007 Pan American Games team that competed in Rio de Janeiro. Was also a member of the 2006 U.S. Greco-Roman World Team coaching staff. He served as a coach with the United States military on the United States CISM, which stands for Council International du Sport Militaire, meaning International Military Sports Council, whose motto is friendship through sports, a highly competitive arena, but nonetheless one that brings military service members, military wrestlers from around the world together. And most of these folks have a conscript army, which means they put people on the mats in uniform for a period of 2 weeks, come out, wrestle hard, and then send them back home. And as we talked before I came up here, I said, I think most trips that we've been out, or you've been out on, I think I might have been along with you. His mother is here today. And I said, "Ma'am, I assure you I've done my best to put a handle on him and help keep him out of trouble, but I'm very pleased that you could be here today to be a part of this gathering." He holds the rank of Major in the United States Marine Corps. He served overseas with the United States Marines during his military career. As an athlete, he was second in the 99 U.S. Senior Nationals, placed third in that competition in 97, 02, and 04, five-time Armed Forces Greco-Roman champion during his career, a graduate of the United States Naval Academy. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome Major Dan Hicks.
That's good. Okay, ready, guys?
Now, I haven't done this, and I should have done this, and that is to offer Dan, offer you an opportunity in JD. If there was anything you wanted to come up and express, I will offer that to you at this particular time as we continue to move down this roster. So, and JD, I know you're never short for words.
That's true.
I'll give you this airtime. You can come up here and use it, or you can take it from there.
I'll take it from here. I think the room's small enough. I didn't really plan on going 0-2 yesterday. That's the first time that's happened since I was little. But God is great all the time, and I'm looking forward to next year. So I really appreciate being honored and being invited to this little shindig here. I've never been here, but it's been a long road, and hopefully the plan on finishing strong next year. So thanks again for the award.
I'm all set, Mr. Stokes.
If my mother was here, I probably wouldn't want to say anything either, so that's okay. We'd now like to recognize our Terry McCann Award winner as USA Wrestling's Freestyle Coach of the Year. And I realize that a lot of these people don't really need formal introductions because you know them, you know their accomplishments, you know what they've achieved. Our Terry McCann Award winner as Freestyle Coach of the Year is Sean Bormet. It's named after the late wrestling legend, Terry McCann, who was a 1960 Olympic champion, longtime coach with Mayor Daley Youth Foundation Club, former president of USA Wrestling, and a FILA board member. Sean Bormet is a coach with the New York Athletic Club, which won the team title at the 2010 U.S. Open and placed numerous athletes on the national team. He was a member of the 2010 U.S. World Team coaching staff, a member of the 2008 U.S. Olympic Team coaching staff, working with athletes and other coaches in Beijing, China. He owns and operates the Overtime School of Wrestling, a top training facility and wrestling club in Illinois. They have produced numerous champions and All-Americans in all of USA Wrestling's age levels. He was a member of the coaching staff of the 2006 U.S. World Team. He's coached numerous age group national champions and All-Americans, both in Illinois and on the national level. Now, prior to founding the Overtime School of Wrestling, he was an assistant coach at the University of Wisconsin and at the University of Michigan. During his wrestling career, he placed during his wrestling career in the NCAA All-American status. He was All-American twice while competing for the University of Michigan. In '93, he placed third at the NCAA tournament. In '92, he placed second. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the third time that this individual has won this award. He won it in 2006, he won it in 2008. And will you please, once again, welcome and congratulate, if you will, our Terry McCann Freestyle Coach of the Year, Sean Bormet.
this point. So I apologize. It's obviously an honor to receive an award like this. And so I was kind of sitting down eating, I was hungry. And, I was just thinking and watching the people filing through the room. And, there's a lot of people I want to thank who've affected me and had an impact on my career as an athlete, helped shape me personally, professionally, and as a coach. And a lot of you probably, different points of times, I listen a lot, I learn a lot, I observe a lot. So there's a lot of people I just want to thank tonight. I appreciate it, and I think my coaching skills can be put to the test here tonight at about 6:30. So that's it for now. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Jim Ravnick, when he came up here, said maybe we need to rename this the Sean Burnett Award. Sure. Our next recipient is the Women's Wrestling Coach of the Year, and it goes to Keith Wilson. It's the first time that Keith has received this prestigious award. He served as a coach for the 2010 U.S. Women's World Team in Moscow, a team that had 2 medalists earn a 5th place finish. He was the World Team coach in the 2009 U.S. Women's World Team in Denmark. He was also World Team coach in the 2008 U.S. Women's World Team in Tokyo, Japan, a competition that brought home a gold medalist in Clarissa Chun and a bronze medalist in Tatiana Padilla. He's been a coach with the Sunkissed Kids since 2001, but I've known him long before that. He's the personal coach, as I've already said, for Clarissa Chun, a native of Virginia. He was a Greco-Roman Team USA member competing for the United States Marine Corps, as well as the United States Army. He wrestled on the college level at the University of Oklahoma. And just like with Major Hicks, I've been out with a team or two over the past year or two, or decade or two. And when this young man was a young Marine and a wrestler. And then we like to think of the military as one great big organization called the Department of Defense. He didn't really change his mission, but then he became a soldier and continued to compete for the Army. Well, I identify with that, Keith, because when I got out of college many years ago, I got drafted and became a Marine. And then for the past 30+ years, I've worked for the United States Army as a civilian, working in sports programs. So like you, it's just one big world. And like everyone in this room, wrestling is one big community and one big family. But what you've gone on and done, and the way you've helped put back into the sport, many of the things that you've gotten out of it, continue to serve as a true note of who you are, and this accomplishment is well deserved. Ladies and gentlemen, our Women's Coach of the Year, Keith Wilson.
I'd just like to thank everybody here for coming, and I still consider myself a student of the game, learning from all the great coaches I see around these rooms, John Smith, Terry Steiner, Bobby Douglas, everybody here. So I'm still learning, still trying to put back into the game, and appreciate you guys' folks, and thank you.
Okay, we have recognized our wrestlers, we have recognized coaches, and I want to recognize 3 more individuals. Next up is our Woman of the Year. You have wrestlers, you have coaches, and I always like to say it's where the action takes place, it's where the heart of the competition, it's why we're here, is so that wrestlers can fulfill their full human, their full athletic potential as wrestlers in this great sport of ours. I believe what Dan Gable says, America needs wrestling, period. And so, you're the reason we're here, wrestlers. You're the reason we're here. But to all of the things that go on around the mat, in order to help get us to where we might be, it's taken the effort of a lot of people. And two people we want to recognize in particular now will be our Woman of the Year and our Man of the Year. First off, USA Wrestling's Woman of the Year is Patricia Fox. Patricia currently serves on the National Age Group Women's Council representing the Southern Plains region. She served as a voting member of the Junior Executive Committee representing Age Group Women's Wrestling for 5 years. She was also a member of USA Wrestling's Marketing Committee. She's a pairings official who has worked on the national, regional, and local levels for over a decade. She was a member of the board for USA Wrestling New Jersey from 2000 through 2008. And sometimes the reward for doing a good thing is the opportunity to do more good things. And that's what comes to mind, Patricia, when I read that among your positions in New Jersey, you were the vice chairperson, the treasurer, the pairings director, the women's director, the membership director, the club director, the event scheduler, and the uniform director. And I've stopped right there in terms of the opportunities to excel that you had in New Jersey. She's also a bronze level certified coach and instructor. And it doesn't really say this in the Bible, so I can say this because I know it to be true. You are the better half of the Gary Abbott marriage. Ladies and gentlemen, our Women of the Year, Patricia Fox.
Give me a good happy one.
But I do want to take this opportunity to thank USA Wrestling and the board for bestowing on me such a great honor. I never ever would have considered it. I'd also like to thank my family, my 3 sons who didn't see our dining room table for about 10 years. My husband, when I moved to Colorado, who was smart enough to buy me a desk that we no longer can find. And you know, all of the wrestlers that have given me far more than I've ever given them. I got into wrestling about 15 years ago, very specifically because I had a special needs child. And the one thing wrestling taught him that I try really hard to bestow upon young athletes that I meet is the more that you work towards something, the more that you can achieve. And so I continue to work towards this, hoping that I can affect at least one more child the way wrestling affected my child. So I thank everybody for this great honor. Thank you.
Mike Novogratz is USA Wrestling's Man of the Year. He's an innovative leader in promoting wrestling and raising funds for our sport. And this sport recognizes him for its outstanding contributions to this entire wrestling community. Mike serves as the team leader for Freestyle Team USA during this quadrennium, 2009 through 2012. He's been a part of the staff at the last 2 World Championships. He will lead the freestyle delegation at the 2011 World Championships coming up in Istanbul, Turkey, as well as the USA Freestyle team in the 2012 Games of London. He's many things. Among them, he's a driving force behind the Beat the Streets Gala events, which raises money for youth and high school wrestling in New York City. Back to the comment, America needs wrestling. This man is helping bring wrestling to America, and especially among places that might need it as bad, if not more, than any place else. In 2010, he was behind an all-star duel that was held on the USS Intrepid aircraft carrier that raised $800,000. And then there was the USA-Russia duel meet held in Times Square, the first sports event ever held in this famous setting that raised over $1 million. He's been a leader in the development of the Living the Dream Medal Fund, which was launched in 2009, serving as a steward for the program, helping to establish the fund and assist in its financial support. World and Olympic medalists for the United States receive bonuses from this fund with a guarantee of $250,000 for any American gold medalist in wrestling in the 2012 Olympics in London. He was named as an Outstanding American by the National Wrestling Hall of Fame in 2007. Wrestling has helped make him who he is. And he is helping wrestling become all it can be today. Ladies and gentlemen, our man of the year, Mr. Mike Novogratz.
Geez, I feel much more comfortable usually giving out awards than receiving them. I usually give a belt. It's a whole lot of fun. My grandmother, when I was young, told me if people are going to say nice things about you, just smile and say thank you. So I'm smiling and I'm saying thank you. Sean talked about looking in this room and all the people that helped in his wrestling career. I just wasn't good enough to have most of you guys help coach me when I was a wrestler. But I got re-involved in wrestling about 10 years ago. And since then, I've learned a ton from lots of people in this room. And I'm a part-time participant in our great sport. I try to plug in when I can, and I've tried to find my role. But a lot of you have really lived a life of immersion. This has been your life, and it's neat to watch the integrity with which people operate, that dedicate their lives to the sport, from Leroy in the Hall of Fame, what he's doing, to his brother John, a big fan of the Smith family. But to so many of you. And so I want to say thank you for all that. I also want to thank my running team over there. Dave Barry, who's on the board of Beat the Streets with me, who's on the board of the Living the Dream Medal Fund, who's a fellow team leader and has traveled on just about every trip with me. And Noel Thompson, who is certainly a big cheerleader for our sport and has a much louder mouth than the rest of us. Royce Alger, who keeps us humored, if nothing else. I look around, I think everybody needs to figure out what their role and how they can contribute. And I feel like I got my marching orders from Tom Brands about 8 years ago, maybe 7 years ago, for one of our early benefits, when he said, wrestling needs energy. And he said, no regrets, you're creating energy in New York. Wrestling needs energy. And so since then I've thought, I don't have that much time I can contribute, but how can I contribute? I'm a cheerleader at heart, and I'm a promoter at heart. And so when I thought about my contribution, it's how do you inject energy into the sport? And from our galas to the Living the Dream Medal Fund, to even Beat the Streets, which is a little bit of a different mission. But it's still, how can we create energy? How can we really show the rest of the world and the rest of the country how great our sport is? Because that attracts people, and that actually makes the athletes feel better. And so that's what I try to do. There's a ton of people that help from my office and all the people that work with me, and to the staff at Beat the Streets, to guys like Al Bivalacqua, who's not here, who probably deserves a big chunk of this award. And so I just want to say thank you. I am literally honored and humbled, and we'll try it on. Right. Actually, I got one more thing to say. This is the World Team Trials, and I feel a little bit almost embarrassed getting Man of the Year after our performance last year. I was the team leader, and we didn't do so well in Moscow, and so I really think just sitting here, things feel better, and I'm willing to willing to bet that the Living the Dream Medal Fund is going to take a big dent this year. And that we're going to pay out some checks after Istanbul, and hopefully we're going to pay a lot of checks after London. So look forward to seeing you in 2 years, a little bit poorer. Take care.
Use a key word in there, Mike, and it's called energy. And we appreciate each one of us, every one of us in here, appreciate the energy that you have brought to USA Wrestling. Our next recipient, also energy comes to mind when I think of his name. He's not here with us right now. And I hope we will have the opportunity to recognize him perhaps later on tonight. You know, I said that we stand on the shoulders of a lot of people. And I believe that's true. I truly do. I think of 3 people that we have lost in the past year. I think of Vince Orr, every official, every one of us out there. Vince has helped, and we remember him greatly. As we do Doug Blueball, 1960 Olympic gold medalist, coach, and a true friend of this sport in every manner. And then, of course, Lindsey Durlock, bronze medalist, age 36 in his prime. We just lost him last week. We will continue to remember these people as we move forward down the road. And we also remember a man named Ed Aliberti, who brought energy to his role as an announcer, the late Ed Aliberti. And the person I want to recognize follows along in his footsteps. It's Don Blasingame. He is the recipient of the 2011 Ed Aliberti Golden Microphone Award. It's named in honor of the late Ed Aliberti, a Hall of Fame public address announcer who set the standard basically for how to announce wrestling events. Don Blasingame has announced the sport of wrestling at all levels for almost 3 decades. He has as strong, you think you got marching orders? You think you got marching orders from Tom Brands? If you're on the other end of a headset with Don Blasingame, you'll get your marching orders from Don Blasingame. Am I right, Sandy? He's got a strong, clear voice, amazing grasp of how to explain the sport to the many people who watch it. He's developed the concept of producing wrestling events. He started doing PA announcing. Patricia, like you got started because of family. He started doing PA announcing with baseball games in the early 1980s. Was mentored by the late Bob Dellinger. And thanks to Bob's encouragement, he got started in working a larger and bigger and more important competition. He's announced the Oklahoma High School State Wrestling Championships for 24 years and is still counting. He's the public address announcer for Oklahoma State. And John, I don't have to tell you what he means to your program. He injects energy from everything that he does when he touches that program. He began working USA Wrestling events on the state, national, and international levels more than 25 years ago. His first international event was in Chattanooga, Tennessee, when he served as the announcer for the World Cup there. He's done the NCAA competitions, as I said, developed the concept of producing wrestling in the 1995 World Championships, the test event for the 96 Atlanta Games, and producing the Atlanta Games, the director of competition. Jose Rodriguez brought the other producers from the other sports into the World Congress Center and said, this is how it's done. And that was a memorable occasion. And from there, Don Blasingame went on. He served as a producer in Sydney, Australia. Later on, Athens, Greece. He follows in the Ed Aliberti footsteps as the voice of USA Wrestling, along with Sandy Stevens, the former winner last year for this award. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in just recognizing a round of applause, Mr. Don Blasingame. In closing, let me say that none of us get to where we are by ourselves. That's not how it works in this game called life. It takes leaders, and we've tried to recognize some here today. But at this time, I want to bring to the podium the leader of USA Wrestling from his position as president, I'm honored to introduce our president, Mr. Jim Ravenek.
Sound like Rich now. That's coming from the voice of USA Wrestling. And, you know, Van, you do this every year for us, and certainly I appreciate it, and the whole staff, the whole sport. Looking around the room, you know, what I see is a big family. And it's an honor, you know, a great honor from the Hall of Fame to our coaches, to our athletes, to our past athletes, to the parents, you know, to the club leaders. You know, it's just an honor. You know, we one big family. I mean, you look around, you didn't see somebody till this year, they're coming back, see Nancy. I hadn't seen Nancy in a year. It's my family, she's back. You know, we all together, we're all on this road and all on the journey. And it's a pleasure to be, you know, in my position. I don't want to be, everybody wants to say, oh, he's the president. I'm not, I'm just part of the gang. You know, everybody's in there, you know, everybody gives me help. I look at this table here, and the years of experience at this table alone, you know, keeps me going. But in closing, you know, I wanted to thank, you know, that Van Stokes doesn't get a lot of kudos because he is the kudo man. But Van, he was absolutely great, you know, to have. And certainly, you know, he asked if I need a translation. So if you do need to translate speech, go back. And no, Jamil, it's not Swamp Brothers, okay? So, but I do want to recognize a couple more people before it's done. And, you know, people that are going with us, you know, to the work team this year and to the Olympics is going to be our team leaders. Mike was honored as Man of the Year, but certainly, you know, we have our Woman of the Century of Kim Montoya-Wicki that Kim's going to be taking our women's team. And Dave Berry is just kind of high, low-key. But Dave, you're the man. That's our Greco-Roman. None of this would happen if we don't have, and I think he might have snuck out on us. Did Tucci leave, Rich? Yeah. Okay, well, to our officials, you know, Rick Tucci is being a leader of our officials. None of this goes on without him. So please, everybody, you know, we've been watching and, you know, evaluating. I think our officials have done a great job this weekend, and, you know, pass that along because they have a pretty tough job. Let's be safe, be a happy family. Let's get the guys and let's get some medals in Istanbul. Thank y'all.
Jim, thank you very much. And Rich, it's time for Van to say kudos. I want to say kudos to Rich Bender, our Executive Director for USA Wrestling, but not just to you, to Larry Nugent, who helped make this possible today. Haley Shear, thank you for your hard work. To all of the many staff members, when you see them, thank them. Mitch Hall, our freestyle coaching staff, our Greco staff, our women's staff. Can't say thank you enough for all the great things that you do. And most of all, to each and every one of you, thank you very much. Where I come from, I would say, USA Wrestling not only applauds you, but USA Wrestling salutes you. Thank you very much, and we'll see you. Bye.